Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first episode of what we're calling here Exploring Avatar. And of course, I won't be by myself. I'll be with my co-host, Drew from Avatar Sequels. How you doing, Drew?
Good, Jerry. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, doing good, man. Oh, there's already a couple people in the chat. Afton Child says hello. I'll put them up on the screen. Ryan Gonzalez, 2 more months, yo, 2 more months. Oh man, we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. No trailer yet. No trailer yet, but we did get some good stuff. Hello. Hello, McLean. Hello, everybody in the chat. But we did get some stuff. I mean, earlier this week, we got the figure reveals from McFarlane, so the whole wave 2. And then I didn't expect it, some preview pages for both the art book and the visual dictionary. What me and Drew are going to do here today is we're going to go over the visual dictionary preview pages. And then probably in another Exploring Avatar episode, we'll go over the art book and the figures and all that. So yeah, but Drew, what did you think about all the news today this week? I know we didn't get the trailer, but like I was telling you, I believe we got a lot more information from these preview pages, especially the visual dictionary pages, than honestly I think a trailer would have given us. So what do you think?
No, I agree completely, man. Of course, I'm looking forward to the trailer like everybody else, and surprised we haven't got it yet. But like you said, this has been an awesome week. I mean, we got Wave 2 from McFarlane Toys, we got two different books, and we got lots of preview pages from both. So yeah, man, I've been having a great week.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna put up the cover to the visual dictionary so everybody can see. And then all right, so there we get our another look at Jake now in that little battle war paint. And I was telling you, I believe it's exactly the same design as in the first movie in the ending battle, except instead of where it was like beige, now it's like teal. So I think that's pretty cool, just keeping the same design. Yeah, then we get a couple more looks. We get Ronal again. We get another theory, and your typical DK stuff. Your little objects and things. I love that stuff. Some might not, but I love it. And the Tolkun, and I don't know about you, but that design, like, it keeps going up there for me, man. Like, I'm more and more excited uh to see the Tolkun, especially after the scene we got in the remaster. What do you think so far about the Tolkuns?
I'll be honest, like from watching, so when I saw Avatar remastered in theaters, the scene I got to see afterwards was Loak and the Tolkun, and I didn't realize that thing that's on their heads. Like I didn't even realize that was part of them until I saw this book. I guess in nothing that I'd seen so far did I realize they had those large fins on the head. So I'm kind of curious what that is exactly. But yeah, super intrigued. It looks like a really cool whale type creature. It sounds like they're going to play a large part going forward in the series. So I can't wait to learn more about them.
For sure, right? And like and they've said they're like sentient to the point that they could even communicate as well as like Navi can communicate with each other. So and they consider them cousins. So yeah, that'll be like really interesting. Especially because there is one page that we saw in the art book. They're like everywhere now that we're seeing in like on all the promotion. So they kind of hold them like uh up there, probably in their beliefs. So it'll be interesting to see. All right, let's start with the. We're gonna start with the skimwing page. Oh, hello to Brianna. She says good night. Let's see here.
Hello and good night.
She said hi and bye. Let's see
She's
here.
out.
The very reason I got the Xbox One was because of the Avatar video game coming out in 2024. No, no, don't say that, McClay. Not 2024. Next year, baby, 2023. Oh man. It was supposed to be this year, but they delayed it till spring of next year. So let's hope it doesn't really get delayed until 2024. All right, so let's pull up the skimwing
At this
page.
point, man, who knows when that thing's coming, right?
I know, right? Hey, we're just, speculating. Nobody knows anything, so
No, not on that. But hey, we are also very excited for that game to come out.
oh
I bought a
man.
PlayStation 5 just to play that game, so
Exactly. I got the PS5 just for that because I knew as soon as I heard that one was going to be next gen only, I'm like, I got to get it. I was going to wait because, I think it's still hard to get a PS5. I don't know, but it was hard for me and
it
I had to
is.
overpay. I didn't get it at retail price, I'll tell you that much. But I was like, it's coming out this year. I got to have it. And I guess I could have waited.
Yeah, it is. It is still very hard. I know Amazon has a thing where it's like kind of like a waiting list, and I signed up for it a few months ago just to see if like I was able to get another one, and I haven't been offered one yet. So
Jeez. Well, hopefully, as long as you get it before the game, it's all good.
oh, I already have one. I was just seeing, if like it was actually easy to get now or not.
Oh, okay. Just testing the waters again.
Right, yeah,
No pun intended.
exactly.
Alrighty. Um, but yeah, man, that game for sure. Like, especially they've said, years they're gonna support it. It'll be a live service game, so I hope at some point there's some kind of like multiplayer component so we can kind of play with each other. But even if we can't, I mean, next gen, we can fully explore Pandora. They could possibly add all these creatures and locations from the sequels. And I think that'll be like the only game I'll play at this point.
Same here for years, hopefully.
Right? All right. So you got this first part here, the scheme wing. Oh, actually, let me go back because to be honest, like, man, this creature like looks amazing. It looks awesome. I love it. And basically what we have in mind when we look at it, we're like, oh, cool. It's kind of like like the Banshee of the Sea. And we actually, when we go over that part, we'll see why we kind of think of that initially. At least I did. I don't know about you.
So initially I didn't. Initially, I didn't even actually like it. I found it really jarring, but
Really?
I mean, it has really grown on me quickly. Yeah, my first time I saw it in the trailer, I was like, "What is that?" But my opinion has definitely changed in the meantime.
Maybe because it looked too similar to like flying fish here on Earth. Was that maybe it? Like it kind of looked a little too similar for you or something?
I think so. That mixed with, I mean, we don't see it very long in the teaser trailer, and it was just kind of the
Yeah,
shape
yeah,
of
yeah.
the head and the teeth. I just thought it looked kind of odd, and I didn't understand exactly
I
what was
guess we just
happening.
got
Like
one
it was
angle. Yeah.
sticking out of the water, but kind of like flying. So I don't know. I was kind of confused what was going on there, but no, I mean, I love it now. I love the design. I love the look. It was just kind of the first impression. I was
Exactly.
a little bit like, what is this thing?
Yeah, and that's fine. You know what I mean? Like like you were talking about the Tokun and like yeah, like I hadn't no as soon as I did notice like the crest on its head, like it kind of like took the design to like another level. And it's like insignificant, but it's just little things like that that can, for me just do it for me visually at least. But
Yeah,
same with this one, like the more we look at it in different angles and everything and kind of read about it, the more intriguing it gets. So let's kind of read a little bit. Uh, honestly, I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm not even maybe gonna try unless you want to. But I'm just gonna say skimwing for now. If
sure.
that's
I
cool.
mean, yeah, I could take a shot at it, but yeah, I don't know that'd be correct. Surak is how I say it in my head, but
All right.
I say lots of things that are wrong in my head. So
Yeah, I was about to say yeah. We can't trust that. All right. So skimwings are large, powerful Pandoran flying fish. The skimwing is a lungfish. It uses gills while underwater, but breathes air through two nostrils on top of its head during sustained flight. The air is exhaled through the gills covers. When swimming underwater, they fold back. their pectoral wings for streamlining. Aided by Pandora's low gravity and high air density, they can launch themselves out of the water, flying in ground effect to gain extra lift like a gliding pelican. Unlike a pelican and more like the much smaller flying fish on Earth, skimwings get continuous propulsion from their long tails, which remain in contact with the water and can travel for hours at a cruise speed of 40 miles per hour. The reef people mount these animals to hunt for larger prey at the surface or to dive deeper, and warriors ride them into battle.
Wow. So there's a lot to take in just in that paragraph.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's awesome. I'm glad it doesn't just strictly fly like an Ecron. I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad it's not a fish and then pops out of the water and can fly, anywhere. I
Yeah.
think it's pretty awesome that it's partially submerged and can breathe in the air and in the water. Like that is like the perfect animal for the Metkayina to ride.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, because basically no other mount, unless we, get revealed another one later on, no other mount of theirs will probably be able to kind of like be above water for that long. Because it says right here they can actually like cruise for hours, just skimming above the water like that. So that's probably their only mount that they have. I mean, you still got to be in the water. So I'm sure for ground battles, they're probably still using dire horses and maybe still Ekrons. We don't know, but yeah, that's super interesting right there.
It really is. I don't know. Like it's cool to learn these little details. Like I said, my first impression was like, what is this thing? It's like kind of a scary crocodile monster fish thing that flies. Like, but then I don't know. As I see it better, as I read about it, I love it, man. The wings on it,
Yeah. Oh,
such
for sure,
cool
man.
designs.
Let's see here. Let's go to the bottom part of that first little page of the spread. And I won't get into all the tiny little blurbs everywhere. I mean, that's just like if you want to really dive even deeper into it, I'll just cover the paragraphs. So bonding with the Navi. So the skimwings do not always bond for life with an individual Navi rider as the Ekron do, but they are very picky about who rides them unless a bond of understanding is formed. The skimwing may not return from its solo feeding forays. It typically hunts in a large territory. Skimwings are high maintenance mounts and require a lot of bond time to remain loyal and return to the village. They are best suited to strong young riders who hunt big game or are defensive patrol as outriders defending the lagoon from incursions by major uh, pel- pelagic predators. I don't know what a pelagic predator is, but
I don't
I'm
either.
sure
That's
we'll
actually the first time I've seen that word.
I'm sure
Uh,
we're gonna learn a lot more about the ocean than we ever have before. So,
for sure, man.
uh, but that's interesting. Like, the whole so they won't bond for life. They might not do that anymore, and I'm thinking maybe if that's just kind of like with Neytiri's Banshee dying Seze in the first movie, maybe they're like, but now she's gonna have another one. Maybe let's just kind of put a little thing in there where like maybe sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, just in case, you know what I mean, just to kind of save themselves going forward.
Well,
But I like
and
that
I
they're
mean,
still very
really,
picky. Hmm?
that actually kind of gives the Ecron something that's special and unique to them too, because so far we haven't seen
Exactly.
anything else that does that. So
Yeah,
I kind of
exactly.
like that.
Yep. And actually this makes sense when we read when we get to the second page at the bottom over there. I'll bring it up again, but it makes sense now that you bring that up with the Ecron. The other thing, that it still takes time to bond with these guys, and they're still very picky about who rides them. So, man, Jake's just really good at being able to tame all these like hard to tame creatures and everything. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. It really just shows like how good of a warrior he is. I mean, he was Taruk Makto, so I guess it
Exactly.
shouldn't surprise me that he can ride one of these, but I found it really interesting that not just anyone can ride one.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess it'll be good to see like how not invested, but like just sucked into the Met culture, like he will become. Kind of like in the first one, he went all the way in. I'm like, well, he's still, maybe only go half in. But I think with even already seeing him on a skimwing and now reading how picky, difficult it could be, like you really have to have that bond time. I think it's gonna that kind of tells us already that he's really gonna get, you know, go full into this culture as well. So that's pretty cool as well.
I agree, man. And I mean, one thing we've learned about Jake is when he commits to something, he's all in.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. So we'll go to the second page. We'll go to the top of that one. And here, really, it's just the little data file I found interesting. I mean, you get their lifespan, it's 20 years. And the human name Skimwing, yeah. And flying fish wing. 48 feet. Holy. I did not read
that
that. I did not read
that
that
is big.
beforehand.
That is
Wow.
big, man.
God. I don't remember the Banshee one, but geez, 48 feet. And then yep, max speed can be up to 58 miles per hour. And that could be continuous, like on the water like that, skimming it with the tail. That's crazy, man.
That
But let's go.
is.
But the very let's see, not that one. But the most interesting, it like look at this little fact file right here. It's like kind of insignificant, but it says here on the evolutionary scale, the skimwing is halfway between a fish and an ikron, or the mountain banshee. In fact, skimwing and ikron share a common ancestor. And then, unlike a dolphin or whale, the skimwings cannot drown. Uh, but that one right there, just that little kind of throwaway line a little bit, they share a common ancestor. I was telling you before, I was like, now I need to see this common ancestor. We need material from like the time of the first songs and stuff like that that's always referenced. Like we need some of this in animated form, man, on like Disney Plus or something.
Yeah, and why did they put that throwaway line in there of unlike a dolphin or a whale, skimwings cannot drown? Are we going to see another creature drown in the movie? Are we going to see a Tolkien drown? I mean, I have no
Oh,
idea. I just thought that was interesting that that's included in there.
yeah, because you're right. Like it's in this creature's fact file, so it could mean that the other ones that we're gonna meet can drown, and if not, it'll just be a fact file for like all of the, sea creatures on Pandora that they can't drown. So, oh, you're right. That's I didn't even think of that. So that's cool. Let's see here. Bum bum bum, and then from the Skimwing, or the other page we got is on Tonowari himself. So here, we got the proud, powerful, and respected by his people. Tonowari is the Olo Ektan of the Metkayina clan. He performs the same role as Jake Sully does for the Metkaya clan, overseeing the secular well-being of his community. Tonowari exudes a fierce demeanor, and his clan respects him for his ideals and his ability to lead them through times of great challenge, which to me kind of sounds also like the times of great sorrow. Supported by his wife, the Sahik Ronal, he makes the difficult decision to provide uturu, or sanctuary, to the Soli family, wrestling with the repercussions of what that choice ultimately means for his family and the Metkayina.
The first thing that I thought when I read that was, even though it was something that, I mean, as avid Avatar fans, we basically knew, I had yet to see it actually spelled out that Ronal was, in fact, his wife. I wasn't 100% sure, but I was like
Yeah,
99% sure.
yeah, exactly. Like you said, we didn't get that full confirmation like we kept assuming. We got that picture from the Empire where they're standing next to each other. In the teaser, they were next to each other like in multiple shots, but couldn't just like assume, but you're right. So it's good to get that confirmation and that she is the Sahik of the Metkayina. I mean, I guess
Right.
all the like the mated pairs the Sahik, are like, do they always mate with the Oloitan?
Well, see, that's something that's a little, I think, a question in the community right now because wouldn't Moat still be the Sahik or is Neytiri now? Like, I'm not for sure.
I guess there you
So,
go. We might find out in
and
the second one that Neytiri now is the Sahik for the. But then she leaves the clan, right? Because they leave. So
right, and also do different clans have different traditions? Because we've seen
exactly.
the Teirangi and Ikeni, and she's the leader. So, I would almost bet it kind of depends on the clan.
Yeah. I mean, which is fine, which is cool. And then let's see here. The other interesting part was right there, like that he makes a difficult decision to provide Uturu or the sanctuary, and I believe it's in another blurb still on these pages. I believe it is where we find out. Let me see real
Yeah,
quick.
it's
I can.
it's right there on the other page down at the fact file near his feet.
All right, let me go to that
Um,
one really quick. Now that I think about it. So, all right, here we go. So, yeah, fact file. And then we get over many years, the Metkayina have crafted weapons and writing settles designed for their oceanic environment. And Uturu is a cultural code among the Navi. Safe haven must be offered to weary travelers who invoke it. And right away, I thought of Parlay from Pirates of the Caribbean. But
Absolutely. I
Parlay.
I did not think of that, but that's actually really funny.
But pretty much that's right there. And another little throwaway fact, these fact files are coming with fire, dude. Fact file
Man, they
fire.
are.
uh
It's telling
what's it
us a
called?
lot about the Amaticaya, or not the Amaticaya, but the Metkayina.
Exactly, because we were like, what is the little situation going to be in the beginning? So we can see here that it is going to be tension, but they're kind of forced to take them in because they're going to invoke this cultural code that's among, just it seems like, among the Navi throughout Pandora. So if anybody says this, you basically are forced to provide them that sanctuary. So we're gonna get a bit of both. Like, they'll take them in, but there's still gonna be that tension, and it's like, it's only because you said that word.
Well, and that raises an interesting point. We know Jake and Neytiri and their family are leaving the Amathikaya, not under the best of conditions, but they're leaving and coming to another tribe for help. But what's going on that makes them need help and that it's a difficult decision? If they simply left the Amathikaya because issues that were going on and went to another tribe, you wouldn't think it'd be a difficult decision to help them out. But something's obviously going on or following them. The RDA's after them. Something's going on that makes it going to be a burden for the Metkayina, is my theory on that.
Yeah, and I think we do know that it is Quaritch because if you remember one of the scenes during D23, it was after the one in the forest where they have that fight where they take back the children that were actually captured by the RDA and Quaritch, the Recoms.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene right after that we heard about where it's they're back in their home and it's the conversation between Jake and Neytiri, and he brings it up. We gotta go because he's not gonna stop. He's not gonna stop chasing us, and and he even mentions right there they still have Spider, and that kid knows a lot. So are thinking like he might crack, and she's like, I can't. She explains that her father gave her that bow, the bow that we've seen now, even I believe even the figures have it, right? One of the figures has it now,
Yeah,
but
her new one does. Yeah.
her new one, yeah. She brings it up. She's like, he gave me this bow, and they repeats that line. He told me that to protect the people, and then he just kind of convinces her like, this is how we're gonna protect the people, because they're not gonna stop hunting us here in the forest, like and it's actually at the end of the day, it's gonna hurt Theo Metkayina rather than help. So, and that's where we get the line where he's like, our wherever we go, our families are our fortress, and that's why they leave. So so it is that it's because they already know. So the only thing that brings up to me is, how long has this been happening? That Quaritch has been after them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, how much of a
and
time jump are we gonna see from the end of that high ground to the beginning of even just Avatar 2?
well, and I'm glad you brought that up because one, I'd actually forgot about that. I wish we could see that footage. I've only listened to it,
Yeah,
and I
yeah. I just listened to
totally
it. Yeah,
forgot about that. But yeah, I wish we were able to see that footage because that's actually a really good point. It kind of does spell out why they're on the run and would need help, and it spells out why the Metkayina would be leery to want to take them in because it's gonna put a lot of heat on them.
exactly. Um, but there has to be something else to it. Like, there has to be more context that either they maybe said afterwards or before that they didn't show there, because there has to be more to it than that. Like, it can't just be like, they're not going to stop chasing us, so we got to leave the Ometikaya. Because then now, in a way, like, if they chase you even to where you go, didn't you now bring it to you kind of brought it to the doorstep of like a different clan? You know what I mean? So I'm sure there has to be like some more little context to it, unless they think that they just don't know about these, the reef people. So
Yeah, and well, and that's something I've thought about even just now as we're talking about it. Is there more to it, or is it strictly revenge? Quaritch is back. Neytiri killed him. Jake basically was a traitor in his eyes. I mean, he's a ruthless guy. So is it solely revenge that he has on his mind, or is there more to it? Is there more of a nuance to it? With Spider possibly being his son, you know, why is he with the Sully family? Is that why he's furious and after them? I mean, we could speculate for days, but I can't wait to find out.
exactly, exactly. And I like that. I like we still know. It's like I feel like we know so much, and we even get so much info, and throughout all these pages that we're gonna cover. But I still feel we know so little. Like, it's crazy. It's
I
that
agree. It's like we know enough to form wrong opinions, probably, of
there
what's
you go.
happening.
We
But
know
it's
enough to
fun.
still have fun speculating and theorizing, but not enough to like already crack the full movie. And which is just fascinating to me, because that's the biggest, I say it all the time, that's the biggest complaint people have over the first one, that it was so simple of a story. But look how, like, I would admit, this one's stumping me. You know what I mean? Like, if at
Yeah,
the end of the day we
absolutely.
watch this and we're like, wow, that was really simple, I'm gonna look back and be like, how did I not see that? But it's like, from where I'm standing now, like, this one seems like, it really seems like these four sequels, they really mapped these out, and they got some twists and turns in there, and now there's like real mysteries and stuff that we slowly peel back along the way. But it's like super fun. It's a fun journey so far, and we're just in the beginning of just the first of four sequels. It's insane.
It is, man. And I know James Cameron's touched on this himself. And I don't remember the exact quote, but he made it very clear that there's no way anybody is guessing where the story's going. So, I mean, for what information they're giving us, I'm sure we have a little bit of an idea, but at the same time, it's going to be a ride that we don't expect.
Exactly. And then right here they comment, his hair looks real. It does. It does. Like, the visuals in these sequels look insane. And I know me and you were talking about it, just outside of this, how we don't really think there's gonna be as big of a jump, obviously, from going from 2, like Avatar 2, to 5, it might, stay a little bit consistent. Like it might just obviously it could increase a little bit because it's still a few years down the road, obviously. But there's just not going to be that jump that we're going to see now. So this might, just already be at the level of what we could even expect just through all 4 sequels. But even so, like they look above him, especially when you see them like how we saw them, like when they showed us those scenes of the sequels, like moving in 3D, like when you fully see it on the big screen, it looks so like stunning, like photo real. It's insane what they managed to do with this movie.
Man, absolutely. I can't wait to see more. And it's like Jim and John are always pushing. Got to see it on the big screen. I mean, that's just where it was meant for. Sure, we have big TVs and it's going to look good in your home, but nothing beats that cinema experience with Avatar.
Exactly. Even the recent remaster showed us like I was telling you also is like I haven't heard one complaint from anybody that walked out of this remaster and was like, man, what's all the hype about? Everybody that I read, like all the reactions on Twitter or anywhere else, it was like just like, oh, or even convincing people that didn't like it, like, oh no, now I see what people are talking about. Because it's an experience. It's just like you said, you just can't recreate this at your house, no matter like how big of a TV or whatever, because you need the whole package. You need the big screen. It's got to be on the big screen in the theaters. It's got to be in 3D, and now with the 4K, man. But let's go on to the tattoos of the Metkayina. So it says the Metkayina have striking tattoos which are unique to each individual and chronicle their life. Each tattoo's location on the body carries a special meaning. Tattoos over the heart and chest symbolize the safe embrace of the central island. Arm tattoos represent the more exposed protective shield of the seawall. Thus, a hunter of the deep ocean has densely tattooed arms and less detail on their chest. The tattoos are considered a gift from both Awa and the clan and are created with inks from special animals. Tonowari as Oloeknan has some of the most detailed and intricate tattoos of all the male Metkayina clan members. They range all over his face, torso, arms, and back. Yo.
So, I mean, aesthetics aside, tattoos are basically saying Tonowari's a badass. I mean, like, legitimately.
Yeah. Oh man. But it's so interesting right here. I love the thought that just went into it. Like, they told us, oh, they're gonna be the first Navi to have tattoos. You're like, oh, cool, and then obviously the style of them and everything looks awesome. But I love the little thought that you already get here in this little blurb, that if they have basically like arm sleeves tattoos, that's because they're like the ones that are doing the most dangerous stuff out there, like in the deep ocean. They're more like the hunters out there. If it's the chest, I love that it's, oh, that's because they always stay close to home. Home is where the heart is. Like I love that little, like just that little symbolism there. Like that's awesome. But like you said, you look at this guy, he's got it all over. He said, I'm
Right.
at home. I can go to the deep ocean. I don't know what the face ones mean because, I mean, we've seen a lot of them that have it, but right here it didn't specify like what those could symbolize. But they said he's like the
Well,
most heavily tattooed one.
if you look to the right of his head there, it does say symbolic tattoos showcasing life events. I
Oh
wonder
yeah,
if
yeah,
face
yeah.
tattoos are like a little bit more specific.
Oh, whereas the
As
body
far,
ones are the ones with that symbolism down there. Oh, okay, okay.
I'm not for sure. I'm just speculating on that, but I thought that was interesting. Like, I'd like to know what each one means as well. What are those life events? Why did you get this symbolism?
Exactly. And I'm sure there's probably even more pages like on the tattoos themselves here that we didn't see, like, or just other little details on the Metkayina themselves, so we might learn those little details. That's why I love these DK books, man. Like they could seem like they remind you of at least here in the US of when we were kids, like the scholastic book fairs like in elementary and stuff, but
Yeah, I get the
um
Star Wars versions of these books with all the little
exactly.
details.
because recently, like that was my the most exciting part of like the recent Star Wars releases was that they would give you this. You'd get that art book bundled, and then you also got a DK release, and the DK release had like all this like info that like that you would never even know because most likely the movies aren't going to tell us the info that's in here. You know what I mean? But it's just cool to know.
Right. I mean, you may see him hold his knife one time in the entire movie, but now we get a clear view of it. Now we know what it's made of. Now we know what the handle is. Like just for an
Exactly.
example, or like why he's wearing a particular harness at a particular time. And something
Exactly.
else I noticed is this is chapter 6, the Metkayina clan. So, like you said, we're going to get a ton more information on the Metkayina in this
Oh yeah.
chapter.
Yeah, because this is just one character of the Metkayina. You're probably gonna get of them in general, and then other specific characters as well. Probably Renal. I like here as well. Tightly braided hair for good vision above and below water, and that just makes sense. That's cool. It's like tightly braided. That way, honestly, you don't have to worry. Because your hair gets all messed up and you go underwater. That way, you don't have to worry about the hair getting in your way. I like that. And then, but the coolest one was down here, the Akula tooth mantle. Like that's sick, bro. So like knowing
Man,
his like little necklace piece is like all Akula teeth, and they're really hyping the Akula like throughout his page specifically that they're kind of like the great white shark, you know what I mean, of
mhm.
the Metkayina.
Look at the size of those teeth too, knowing how big a not V male is. Those teeth are huge, even on his body.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right because he's almost 10 feet tall himself. So man, those are massive. And we haven't seen much of the Akula. I think all we have to go on is that the figure, the RC controlled or remote controlled figure. So who knows, man? They're probably gonna play a pivotal part in maybe third act, something like that.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. We have some of your comments. I wonder if they have mating rituals.
Well, we do see a pregnant Metkayina woman,
they're, they're,
so Renal.
they they got some mating involved. Tonowari, man, he's going everywhere, man. Let's see here.
Either that or Jake is just extremely potent wherever he goes. Babies follow.
Oh, you got here we go. Shout out, Womaine. Well, I have to go and take care of some stuff. It was wonderful to hear your voice. Good vibes. So there you go, man. Somebody's happy
Hey,
to hear your voice.
thanks for tuning in, man. Thank you for all
Yeah,
your
thank you
likes
so
too, and
much.
all your support.
All right, let's move to the next page of Tonowari. Let's see here. Actually, I believe this is the top part first. All right, so here we go on to the blades. The knives of the Metkayina are made from super hard obsidian sea stone. The crystalline weapons are hard enough to cut through the thickest fronds of seagrass and sharp and delicate enough to peel the thinnest layer of skin from a fish. And I love here serrated tooth pattern modeled after Akula teeth. So it's like you still trying to show, like look at this. It's even I even just have the shape of Akula teeth. So they're really hyping these Akulas up, man, because you just want to have everything Akula likes to look like a badass. And oh yeah, just woven dyed seagrass for the handle grip. But what do you think of these blades, man?
Man, I love it. And I mean, I'm jumping a little bit ahead,
Yeah,
but we see Jake on that skimwing and he's holding an axe. We don't
yeah,
get a great look at it in the teaser, but I know the figure comes with it as well. And if you look at it, it looks just like the same type of glass. So I'm thinking he probably has some kind of Metkayina hatchet or axe, whatever you want to call it. But dude, those weapons look so cool. I mean that see-through blue, it's just beautiful.
yeah. I love it. It's basically you can cut through the thickest seagrass, but it's still so sharp. The thinnest layer of skin from a fish. Man, that's so cool. That's so cool. And like you said, if Jake's axe is made out of this, dude, that's awesome. And then you have the ceremonial cape here. During certain ceremonial dances and rites, like a coming of age ceremony, Tonowari will wear this cape. It is made from netting, Ikron wing leather, no RIP, and polished shell. And then let's see here. I love this little
Hey,
blurb right here. Looking at his song
Jerry,
chord.
that
Yeah.
actually goes back to a comment you made earlier where they may have Ekron as well. I mean,
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
they're apparently close enough to them that they can get their leathers, so it's a good.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Man, that's a good point. And then looking at the song chord, I love this little blurb right here where it's like a small shell token that Ronald could sing volumes about. So like very significant little shell token right there that's she could sing songs about or volumes about. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, like, I mean, what that means exactly. I assume we're going to see her singing at some point.
Oh yeah, and because I know she's gonna be part of like the ceremony. I just did a video where I was like, I don't know. She had said it was a birthing ceremony. I don't know if it's hers or we got that picture with the Tokun. I was like, maybe it's a Tokun birthing ceremony. Maybe it's like they revere him so much they even have a ceremony for like the birth of a new one, something like that. My only thing here, I was like, I noticed that on his chest right here on the right on his image, that harness there, it looks different from the one over here. You see how this one is like brown, and these things look a little different. But if you go back over here, yeah, it looks like a completely different design on the harness. I don't know if they just have different ones and if each one can have like a different meaning. But I thought that was kind of interesting.
It is interesting because they're very close, but at the same time different. Yeah, and we do learn where he got one of those harnesses from.
Exactly. So I'm like, I guess maybe there's even like different, you can earn them through different, like the first one we learn eventually, that's right here, right on that lower part of that page. In the Iknimaya one, we see much like the Metkayina teenagers, adolescent Metkayina must complete a number of coming-of-age rituals, known as Iknimaya, before they are considered to be adult members of the clan. One of these ceremonies includes bonding with a skimwing and various tests with their Tokun spirit brother or sister. Once a Metkayina has completed these tests, they are bestowed with the special garment, the one here on the left, which is the first one we see him wear, their first tattoo, and 3 beads for their song chord. So maybe there's just different versions that you can, different tests that you can pass, and you unlock like a new, a new type of like harness thing. But
Yeah, very possibly. Or maybe he has a special one because he's the clan leader. Or I mean, it could be a whole number of things. I know Neytiri wore a ton of different outfits in the first movie, and for no particular reason other than I think they wanted to show off the different wares of the Amathakaya.
I wonder if the objects that are on this one, if they're particular to a Tokun, like if this is something of a Tokun there, and if because the other one it looks completely different, if they just are like different, tests that you pass with different creatures. But that's just me spitballing here. But I like here on the blurb of the Iknimaya, the one that they do have to bond with is the skimwing, just like the Ometigaya need to bond with the Ikron. But it only says that they perform various tests with their Tokun spirit brother or sister. But it doesn't say that they have to bond with one, just the skimwing. So that's I think I brought this to you earlier. I was like, maybe nobody really rides one, and that would still make Loak special, as the Tokun rider. Maybe he's the first one to ride one either in like a very long time or just like he just forms a special bond. He's the first one that does it. So I thought that was interesting. It doesn't confirm here that they ride them, because then it wouldn't really be special that, everybody's riding them. So I like
Right.
that part.
And that kind of also takes me back to the song chord, because it says right there that once the Metkayina have completed these tests, they are bestowed with a special garment, the first tattoo, and 3 beads for their song chord. I'm curious where that song chord goes. Is it something they keep at home? Is it something that they tie to a garment somewhere or make a necklace out of? I don't think,
I know
but
I was looking to see if he was wearing it. Like, we'll go back to this picture, because I don't see it here, like around his neck or anything. And even when we go lower, unless it's right here, hanging from the bottom, which we actually get a better look at, bottom over here. Well, no, it doesn't. You can't see it there. So yeah, I don't know if they wear that right there on the, like, on that belt
oh, okay, on
thing.
that bottom, that right side there.
Yeah. So maybe that's it.
As important as it seems to them, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't wear it somewhere. So
Yeah. Or maybe because it is so important, you don't want to lose it or something. You kind of, that maybe that stays at home. Okay.
yeah,
You
that's
only
a good
bring that
point.
out when we're gonna do like ceremonies and stuff. That's when you might bring it out. And then let's see. I think that was everything on Tonowari. Oh, the fact file. Over many years, the Metkayina have crafted weapons and riding set. Oh yeah, we read that because we jumped ahead. Okay, so we're good on that.
I
Now
think
let's go. Huh?
one thing we did skip was is something small, but the carved and hand twisted iridescent shell armband with woven details. Basically, just the armband on his
Oh yeah, the
hand there
armband.
on the
Yeah,
left arm.
yeah. Let's see. I think I got it right here. Yeah. Hey, and it still looks pretty cool. It looks dope.
It does. Like those colorings are wild.
Yeah. And I love we still haven't seen much of the underwater, man. So, like, I wonder, like, what kind of new, like that, like cool looking stones, just even like creatures and coves and everything, and like the, what is it, the cove of the ancestors, like there's that whole thing that we really haven't even explored at all, because other
Yeah.
than seeing a quick shot in the teaser and knowing
So
what it's called.
could you touch on that a little bit, because I know what shot you're talking about, but
Yeah.
I never heard where the Cove of the Ancestor part of that came from.
I believe it's what they titled it when the teaser first came out. Different trades put up like stills. I
Okay.
don't remember if it was, Variety, something like that,
Uh-huh.
and they had like the little description. You get that little. It was, believe one of those said that it was the Cove of the Ancestors, or it was a concept art, because they also released, because that teaser shot was almost like a 1-for-1 for an art piece that we got beforehand. And
Uh-huh.
I believe so. One of those was labeled Cove of the Ancestors, and they did touch upon it again in the description for. Let me see if it's actually on the back cover of the visual guide, because I think it was for the visual guide. Let's see. Okay, so it's not on the actual back cover, but right there where it says the Metkayina Village, the Metkayina Clan's High Camp, RDA's base, Bridgehead, and much more. I believe in the Amazon description, it actually does say, and learn more about the Cove of the Ancestors and the secrets it holds. So that kind of
Interesting.
confirmed it. Yeah.
I had seen several people calling it that, and I knew there was a reason, but it is something I hadn't come across myself. So
Yeah, exactly. And now we move on to Bridgehead itself. And it is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be, man.
it's huge. I love how it's
It's an
laid out,
actual
though.
city, I guess it's kind of labeled as, yeah. Let's see here. So we'll get to that first part. So
Would
just
you
right
like
here.
me to read, sir?
Yeah, go ahead, man. You got that first part right there, yeah.
Roughly the size and composition of Long Beach, California, the RDA's new flagship installation is not just a base, it's a city. Bridgehead is vastly larger than the older Hell's Gate and lives up to its name as a true beachhead for a full-blown human colonization of Pandora. This extraterrestrial boomtown is being built by an innumerable subcontractors, all eager for a juicy contract. Overseeing this hive of chaotic construction is RDA ConDev, a new administrative entity that consolidates coordination of the land development process at Bridgehead and other facilities. Called by some the last hope for a dying Earth, Bridgehead embodies the RDA's motto, Building Tomorrow.
Dude, there was so much information and confirmation just in that paragraph. So we got it's it's basically a city. It's not, don't call it a base. It's a city. And right here we get their goal. It's a full-blown human colonization of Pandora. So it's not just kind of like revenge on one clan or whatever, or just here for the unobtainium to take back to Earth. I think with further in that thing where it says this is the last hope for a dying Earth, I think Earth is like a goner, man. You know, and we're gonna see that we might be sympathetic with like some of the human, again, some of the humans from the working for the RDA, because they might just be here like, you know, what else are they gonna do? Their planet is dying. You know what I mean? So it just brings up the stakes that much more. Yeah, those are my little quick thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, this is huge because, I mean, you had Hell's Gate, and I mean, it was a mining facility, it was basically just there so the people had a safe area to live in while they were taking unobtainium. But now, I mean, this is this totally different game changer. I mean, there could be people that live here not even by choice, but Earth is dying. I mean, this is their
Exactly.
only hope for a life. So, yeah, like you said, it could definitely be sympathetic humans, could be humans that are even sympathetic towards the not V. Maybe they don't necessarily want to be there, but this is their only chance at survival. So I'm very intrigued by this city.
Yeah, and then the part here, let's see here, like it has innumerable subcontractors. Because I know some people are like, how is this how is this built either so fast or under the Navi's noses and things like that. But it could still be that they this was maybe just still everything that we have seen built up so far could still be done in just like months or a year or a couple years, because like I said, we don't know from the time in the upcoming high ground where they come back to the start of Avatar 2. We don't know the time span there. So, but since they have innumerable subcontractors, and it probably just means so many different companies getting this off the ground, it's not just one, that is doing it. So there you go.
Yeah, and I mean the not V, they're tribal. I mean, they're not everywhere. They're not spread out everywhere. All they would have to do is come back to the planet, find a spot maybe where there weren't any not V or they didn't go there often and start building their base. I mean, I don't think it'd be hard to get established per se.
Exactly. And then let's see. Do you want to do that City of a Thousand Cranes little blurb right there?
Sure. City of a thousand cranes. For several years, Bridgehead will be a constant state of a mega construction. Will be in a constant state of mega construction, but productive output of materials started on day one thanks to the sling load system. The heavy construction materials such as steel and concrete are extracted on Pandora, so getting metal mines, aggregate quarries, and concrete plants online is top priority, allowing the construction behemoth to rise.
Exactly. So there we go. We don't really, unless you off the top of your head know what a sling load system is. I think what comes to mind, I think that's when they, when you see the planes and they have like they're carrying like heavy loads and stuff, but they're kind of hanging on like what do you call them, like just cables and stuff like that. That's what comes to my mind, unless it's something completely different that you think it is.
I have no idea. I didn't know if that was a term, invented for
Just
this
for them,
movie or if
yeah,
that's a
like they just
construction
kind of,
term. I don't
yeah.
know. It wasn't something I looked into, and I'm not familiar with that term. So,
Yeah, and it's cool here. It's pretty interesting that unobtainium doesn't come up at all in these blurbs. Like right, their goal right here, like it says, is like from day one. It's like, okay, we need all the different metals, basically everything we need for this. So their thing was metal mines. We need quarries, and we need concrete plants. Like that was the priority to get this up. And I like here it's going to be in a constant state of construction, so it's not fully built out, during this movie. So I kind of love with these little blurbs here, like let's see here. I'll do the next one, the kill zone. So Bridgehead requires protection from Jake's warriors and other Na'vi, as well as the moon's wildlife. Protecting Bridgehead in this regard is the kill zone, a strip of bare earth 2 miles wide between the city wall and the natural tree line, regularly treated with herbicides and defended with automated weapons. This strip of death that was once a forest keeps Awa and her vast network of sensors and fangs in the flora and fauna of Pandora at arm's length. Wow. Uh, so when we actually look at the map, like I know we don't like the RDA, but you gotta admit, like that's pretty genius. I know Hell's Gate maybe had something like I can't remember. Did they have something like that? Maybe just not as big of a kill zone. Maybe it was just like a lot smaller around it.
yeah, I feel like it wasn't nearly that big.
So that's kind of genius. You're like, if you think about it, you basically all around you 360, you go 2 miles wide. The 2 miles, man, that's a lot. That's
It is.
basically a lot of deforestation that they did. And and it's kind of smart too if you think about it. You're like, we're gonna keep putting herbicides, it's gonna remain barren, because that way, and that's probably why even if you look inside the city, it's still barren, because you don't really want AWA to be able, like it says, to have his network of sensors. So basically your whole city is cut off from the neural network that they talk about, that's that how Pandora operates with AWA and everything, how everything's connected. So this is the part you literally took it offline in a way. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
interesting, man. That's smart.
it is. It's also, I mean, it's a great defensive tactic to keep the not V from, sneaking up in there in the night or whatever. But man, 2 miles, that's
I know
crazy.
that's a long way. So you'll see people coming from a great distance. Like you said, you could have night attacks, but I mean, you have, I'm sure some of these turrets are probably like emotion censored and things like that. So they're like you said, they're protected, man. They're pretty good here. And like I said, it's not fully built out, and I love that part because it lets us know that this could basically be the fortress for I don't know how long, maybe throughout all of the sequels all the way up to 5. So this is kind of going to be like their Death Star. And just in these little pieces of information, we're like, at least for me, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm cool with it. Like, I get it. I understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something I found interesting about it was, I mean, obviously they're preparing for humans to live here long term, forever, essentially. But so much of it is like industrial, airfield, admin zone. I mean, there is a housing zone, but it is definitely much more focused on the industrial part than even housing.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm like loving, like, I think this might be one of my favorite pages because I'm like, I know for a long time people are like, okay, well they need to, even me, they need to introduce like a different threat or something else, because this can't keep going for all the sequels to have the same thing over and over. But in a way, it's like there's the stakes already. It's like Earth is dying, so for the humans themselves, like this is even for them, like this is their last hope. Like this is the last chance, like that this is all they got. And like you said, there's probably going to be people that don't agree with it, obviously. But what else are they going to do? Like, so it's cool, man. Like for me, all of a sudden, this justifies, like, even if this does remain all the way up till 5, this little fortress right here and just their overall goal, I'm like, I think that it's justified, at least for me. I don't know for you or anybody else, but at least for me, I'm like, I can go with this because it really does put like those stakes up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I don't really harbor any ill will for people anywhere trying to live. It's different when you're coming to try to rape and pillage and take resources just for money, but this is about survival. Totally different.
Exactly. Yep.
And looking up under that data file, man, target population for the city 2 million upon completion. That is wow. I mean, that's a big city, but it doesn't look like 2 million people would want to live there.
Oh yeah. You're right. You're right. The target population. So that right there just hammers it home again. Like, we're not just gonna see this destroyed in the first movie. Like all these little facts are in here for a reason. Um, and just the way they have this set up, there's no way that just with yeah, Bailey's here. She's glad she could make it while we're still on. This is for anybody that doesn't know, Becoming Navi on Instagram is where she's more prominent, and she does amazing work. Guys, please check it out. So just search Becoming Navi on Instagram and you'll be blown away. She'll bring out your inner Navi and it looks amazing. So check it out if you haven't. But
Hey,
yeah, that was
she raised a really good point too, Jerry. She said she wondered if it started off as a shorter distance, but had some reoccurring instances that required them to push to that distance. I'm assuming of the 2 miles.
the 2 miles. Yeah. Oh, exactly. Great point. Probably they're like, okay, this is we finally figured out what the good distance was, because it was, you got to think of the creatures themselves were like one of the first ones, and then yeah, so you still needed that distance because of the flying creatures and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe you started smaller and then just kind of worked your way up, and you're like, this is the one that works, or maybe something else. But as I was saying though, there's no way in just this first movie that this would get destroyed, because yes, there's like it's kind of by the ocean. They have a marina portion as well, but I just don't see it feasible that just with like a water based invasion that you'd be able to take this down. So my thought is like, this also kind of illustrates why throughout the sequels they have said we're going to visit all the different biomes, because I think at the end, I mean, it could not be all the way until 5. Maybe this is something in 4 or even 3. But I believe at some point you're going to have all these, you're going to need like the full might of like all the different biomes of Pandora that maybe you've never even communicated with each other. You know what I mean? To form like this final massive like invasion with all the different, power at once. So that's just one of my theories. What do you think?
Well, I mean, we're talking target population of 2 million. We have no idea how many are there now, but say it's 200,000. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of people. That's a lot for the Na'vi to overcome. So, I mean, who knows? And these people just want to live, if that's true, versus coming to take and mind. Maybe they
Yeah,
could even form positive relationships with the Na'vi at some point.
exactly. I mean, we do kind of know from, obviously the land of there at Walt Disney World that eventually it's kind of spoiled for anybody that doesn't know. The story of the land over there in Walt Disney World is that that's like generations after all these conflicts are over. So eventually there is going to be, some kind of, treaty or something like that between where the conflict is over. But getting to that point and what kind of damage they do to the planet and everything, so that'll still be interesting to see throughout the sequels.
And I believe that land is set roughly 100 years after Avatar 1, which,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
as long as it's taking, to get up to Avatar 2, it's really not that long because got kids that are, getting into their teenage years, et cetera, et cetera. It's really not going to be that much longer after Jake and Neytiri are gone, as long as they live to an old age, of course.
Exactly. And then whatever point number 5 reaches, like how many years from where we're even going to be in 2, is like further time jumps they're going to have. So I guess we'll see there. And then let's go to the last page, which is the one on the recoms themselves. And let's see here. We'll go to that first top half of that first page of them. And they're equipped to achieve their mission by any means necessary and to ensure the RDA's advancement and its military goal to retake Pandora in order to provide a new home for humanity. So that kind of doubles down on it there. The RDA believes that every living being on Pandora wants to repulse it, and the Recoms must be aware of that fact every second of every day. Their mission is facilitated by a range of tools and artillery that aid them in all scenarios. And you gave a great breakdown on Instagram on this this Recom team badge right here. You want to break it down for everyone?
Sure. The first thing that stood out to me just looking at it, I was like anything, I just kind of look at the center. You see that human skull that has 3 scrapes, same side as Colonel Quaritch. And we know he is a recom, so clearly that is his skull or a representation of it.
Yeah.
And then behind it, we have the larger Avatar skull. And the Q, instead of just being a normal ponytail, is actually a snake, which kind of leads me to the "We will tread on you" slogan. We've had the Gadsden flag here in the United States for years. It's a popular slogan, especially like in the southern states.
Yeah.
Don't tread on me. And they're saying that we will tread on you. So I thought that was humorous. The deja blue, that's just funny. I'm not sure why.
I guess if you want to look into it, it could be like because you're seeing them again, but this time in blue instead of the regular human version. So you're making you look twice. Like, wait,
Right.
didn't I see you before? Yes, you did, but not in blue. Okay. And yeah.
And then, of course, the knife or machete, possibly. And this one was the one that kind of stuck out to me because I looked at this for a while and then I don't know, I kind of turned my head and I was like, oh, the wrapping says RDA. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's actually like really cool in there. Yeah.
You made this point, so I'll let you touch on it about the first.
Oh, and I thought maybe,
recon.
I thought maybe the first Recom was just kind of like a little reference to Quaritch, who obviously they're basing the image on being the first Recom himself. So I thought it could just be a little nod to that of him being the first Recom, and that's why he's prominently like the on the badge itself. So all in all, man, I honestly think that's like a really cool logo for their badge.
I think it is too. I actually love it. I don't like the RDA and anything like that, but that logo is freaking awesome.
We always got to give that disclaimer, even though it's like I love vehicles, I love they're different things, the amp suit, stuff like that. But disclaimer, we still don't like the RDA.
Right.
Then right here, they have a recon breather because you think, oh yeah, because since they're now in these basically Avatar, which have Navi bodies, they can't breathe in the normal in the facilities. So you have supplementary carbon dioxide is critical for the operation of recon personnel inside human air facilities. The development of a compact breather system allows recoms to sip carbon dioxide every minute or two. So that's just pretty cool. And it explains why in that image we got released of the Avatar Quaritch, he kind of had it around his neck.
Doesn't Kiri have that as well when we see her watching the screen with Grace talking? Doesn't she have one around her neck too?
Yeah, and I guess it's just because they are in a human facility, and maybe they're just aware that they, I don't know, maybe just grab one off the wall or something, knowing what they're supposed to do. So maybe that's the reason. It's just kind of like, well, she's in a human facility, so they had to do it. But
Yeah, I was curious that they called it recoms. Like, it doesn't say for the operation of Avatar personnel. It specifically says recom, which I know we're on a recon page and that's what we're covering. But I
yeah,
just wondered if there was a difference there at all.
like, did we have an Avatar? Was that ever really touched on in everything we know? Well, was there an Avatar, breather, and they just kind of just like renamed it just for these specific ones because they're not really doing the Avatar program, and this is kind of just called now the Recom program in a way.
I don't know, and I don't really remember. I'm trying to remember any of the avatars being in human air for much time at all in the first movie, and there's nothing I can really think of off the top of my head. So
Yeah,
it might just be something that they didn't ever think of or need to touch on for the first movie.
yeah,
It's just now coming into play.
exactly. Because now you're just gonna have so many of them like in the facilities where you didn't before, and then
Right.
just quickly you have this. I mean, the other ones are just grenades. They're just grenades. But this little Recom ID tag, you kind of tilt your head. It's Quaritch's tag, and usually on here, like you could see a social security number, and it kind of says he's a male. And then usually where they have like a religious affiliation, his just says none. So, uh,
Imagine that.
yeah, right. And then we get to our first little batch on the bottom of the first page of the first little batch of recoms that gets shown to us here. And
So
you pointed
Jerry,
out, huh? Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. One thing we haven't covered yet is the initial paragraph there
Oh
of
yeah, yeah.
who the recoms are.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, let me go back to it. There you go. All right. You want to touch on it first?
Sure. The recoms are equipped to achieve their mission by any means necessary and to ensure the RDA's advancement and its military goal to retake Pandora in order to provide a new home for humanity. The RDA believes that every living being on Pandora wants to repulse it, and the recoms must be aware of that fact every second of every day. Their mission is facilitated by a range of tools and artillery that aids them in all scenarios.
Yeah.
So
And
that kind of goes back to the last page where the RDA's goal has changed a bit.
yep. Yeah, now it's not just what we thought, oh, they're just it's revenge or just a bigger scaled invasion for the unobtainium. Like it literally is like they gotta provide a new home for humanity. So that's interesting. And I like it, to be honest. I like it.
I do too because it makes the enemy a little bit more relatable versus just they're straight up bad because they want to
Yeah.
take.
And you won't want, like the full destruction. It's not gonna be looked at like the Empire in Star Wars, even though there were in like books and novels some sympathetic empire people that you can look at that way as well, where like they just joined up because they had to or something like that. But this one is like on a global scale for all of humanity, so now you can't really just also hope for the full destruction of like the RDA in general, because there's so many lives there that are going to be innocent and that probably don't even want to support what they are doing, but they're kind of just forced to be there. So now you kind of get like you know you're kind of split. And it's funny because James did mention this. He says it's not going to be black and white. You are we're going to present that gray area, and here's the gray area.
Absolutely. And I think that this makes it more interesting because, I mean, we're both 100% pro, not V. We're not for the RDA, but you get a city full of regular people who just want to live. I don't want to see them destroyed.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get Neo Fulcrum. What makes the Recoms especially dangerous is that because they have that bond link, like the Navi, they could assert their will on the wildlife. And yeah, that is true for, just like we saw Jake do in the first movie. Avatar bodies basically work just like Navi bodies, so you can think that the Recoms can literally also ride creatures and all that. So it's going to be even more of a fair fight, especially with many more of these. We don't know how many. Well, I know we see, I believe, up to 10 throughout these 2 pages, but I don't believe it states a specific number anywhere of how many. They're probably just creating more, as much, as many as they can. So, but yeah, that's a very good point. They're going to be even more of a threat than just regular humans were in the first movie outside of their vehicles.
Yeah, thanks for posting that, Neo. That's something I hadn't even really thought about. But yeah, I mean, you're talking about 6-foot tall people versus 10-foot tall aliens. The humans needed masks. Now they don't need any of that. That alone is going to make them much more formidable.
Exactly. And then here we get a look at some of them. We get Alexander, let's see, Zhang or Zhang, and then Prager, Walker, Mansk, and Fike. And then you brought up this one here. I believe, like, you were the one that pointed out to me first, that you believe that's Sean Fike from the first movie.
Yeah, I think so, just because of the name and the fact that I don't remember too many people, if any, had a machete on their back, same side and everything. So that definitely made me think that he would be back. And I also saw for Mansk, who's next to Fike, Kevin Dorman, I believe, is playing him.
Oh, okay. Somebody in my comments labeled him Will Smith. I was like, he's gonna slap somebody. Let's see. Oh, but back to Sean Fike real quick. You do kind of see there on his forearm, on his right forearm, that's to our left. You do see a little bit of his tattoo, because on that scene when Jake first arrives, you do see it on his forearm. He does have those tattoos. So I think you're proven correct, my friend. That's Sean Fike.
I believe it is as well. It'll be interesting to see, though.
And then I believe that's all that we recognize from this one right here, right?
Yeah, it was all that I have seen be confirmed so far. I think we know 3 of these 4, however.
Oh yeah. Break them down.
The first one, I have no idea how to pronounce that. I don't
Maybe
know, man.
the Z is silent, maybe, and it's Dinar. Let's just, yeah.
But something I thought was pretty cool on her is, look at those tattooed arms, man. It's interesting seeing the Recoms all tattooed up.
Oh yeah, now even the Recoms have it, yeah.
That one is played by Alicia Vela Bailey. The next 2 were pretty easy to figure out. Garrett Warren, of course. And that thing, I mean, his face looks just like Garrett.
It does.
And shout out to Bailey, because she created an image of Garrett as a Navi. And I mean, honestly, that face and this face look spot on to each other. The next one is Steve Brown. He's a newcomer, does a lot of stunts. He confirmed that is him. And then Lopez, I don't know. I don't have any guesses for Lopez.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, because pretty much from the first movie, I think we've covered all the ones that you kind of, are supposed to know who they are, like Wayne Fleet, Sean Fike, who he talks to. So maybe they're just another background or just created for this movie. But yeah, I do like that some of them, like the Warren, that the actress is also playing this one here. So I like that. That's pretty cool, man. And I guess yeah. Let's see here. And we'll just go to the top of that page on let's see here. And it's just more of like the little weapons up here at the top, but we do have a blurb at the bottom. But right here, we just get high-powered pistol. The Recom pistol, like all Recom weaponry, is built to maximize devastation. The hollow point rounds fragment upon impact, sending shards around in every direction. The impact alone is enough to knock most targets to the ground.
If you know anything about ballistics, hollow point rounds aren't meant to fragment, so that's kind of strange, but I didn't quite understand that. But something I did notice was, right under that pistol is there's 3 bullets, and they look like they're brass casings again. If you
Yeah.
remember in Avatar 1, they were really big on caseless ammunition. So it almost looks like they're going back a little bit in technology here.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You're right. I wouldn't even have noticed. That's a good point right there. Let's see. Pretty much, just knives, and then the machine gun. You get you get the pistol, obviously, a hydration pack, and then recom throat comms. But we have that last little blurb down here, back where we were. Let's see. And you want to read that one, the recom unit right there?
Sure. Regarded as the RDA's muscle, the Recom unit is a special forces operation that takes orders from the top and assists in any extraordinary circumstances. These well-trained soldiers toe the line and are respectful of the chain of command. Following tactics that they are told will keep them alive beyond the perimeter. But it's going to take more than guns and manpower to subdue the Pandoran rainforest, and their survival may depend on how much they're able to adapt in the field.
Exactly. And I take that last line to me like what they pointed out in the comments there, that they can also now bond with the wildlife and stuff. And that's probably meaning like they need to also kind of adapt to Pandora itself, not just only rely on all these human elements, but now that you're half and half, you kind of got to also adapt to some of those Pandoran elements as well. So that's cool. Did you get any other juicy info out of that little paragraph there?
Kind of
pretty much what we
they
think.
are. Yeah, kind of interesting that they are a special forces unit. I'm sure we're going to see these forces in particular clashing with the Sullies frequently.
Exactly. And it just, means they're going to be formidable. So it probably means that the ones they brought back weren't just like their ordinary grunts and soldiers from before. They only brought back the ones they knew were like their greatest. So like they point out here, so the recoms are a mix of recon, commandos, and death squads. Yeah, basically. So, and it's going to be formidable. We don't know yet, like we said, how many we're looking at here, but yeah, man, that's a lot of info that we got just on these few preview pages for that book.
Well, and I guess I'm not sure how they acquired the DNA, if they had samples already. So, say Quaritch's body was never recovered, maybe they already had a sample and could have created him. Anyways, but I'm assuming that's why we don't see someone like a Trudy back, is because if they had a sample of her DNA, she wasn't very loyal to the RDA cause. So,
Yeah,
no reason
also,
to bring her back.
A good point, because you want to make sure it's basically your most loyal people too. Like these blurbs state, they're the most loyal and respectful of the chain of command and things like that. So, but yeah, man, I think that's all we're gonna cover in this first episode of Exploring Pandora. I hope you guys enjoyed our little overview of these pages. And just quickly, here's like the little back cover. I love that Hexapede toy. And then we get a look at this the Sea Wasp there, the new flying vehicle, at least one of the first ones from the RDA there. And then just some darts, the Elu, things like that. But yeah, man, any last thoughts for you on these pages, this little preview of the visual dictionary?
Yeah, I'm looking at that sea wasp there. That does not tell me that they are back solely to populate, but they also have some offense in mind as well. Doesn't look like a very defensive-minded vehicle to me.
Oh no, most of these do not. I'm still unsure about the the crab suit. If that is like full artillery stuff too, or if that one looks like it's more kind of like recovering stuff from underwater, things like that. So, but I'm sure like the amp suit, it's also going to be used in that way as well. So,
Right. You could have it used for, scientific study or put some missiles on it and go attack the Metkayina.
exactly. Well, all right, everybody. Thank you guys for everybody that was here for tuning in on this first episode of ours of what we're calling Exploring Avatar. And in future episodes, we still have the art book to go through, the wave 2 of the figures and all that we'd like to break down as well. Just not enough time. And also, we're in the future, even if there's nothing new to go over, we're going to touch, we have 13 years of history of, at the Avatar franchise itself. So we can, dive into everything like the Cirque du Soleil play, which was Tariq the First Flight, and just other aspects, the comics, things like that. And of course, when the High Ground comics come out soon, we're going to fully dive into those. Those are going to be like our first new, like, real story as close to Avatar 2 setting as possible. So that'll be really interesting. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Any last words, Drew?
No, I just want to echo your sentiments. We really appreciate everybody joining in and appreciate the feedback and comments, guys. It kind of keeps it fun hearing what you guys think.
Yeah, for sure. And also check out Drew himself. Of course, he has avatarsequels.com, and you can find him on Instagram. But here on YouTube, you could also find him just under Avatar Sequels. I'll end up adding all this to the description down below, right after this. So we'll have his link and everything there. So also subscribe to his channel, check out his videos and all that. But yeah, it'll be me and him every episode of Exploring Avatar. I hope you enjoy us both talking. But yeah, thank you, everybody, and have a great day.
Thanks, guys.